Hi everybody. Now let us look into the 36th module of the course on ECCE that deals with assessment information, planning the next step in learning. Some of the previous modules on assessment elaborated several assessment techniques and its implementation strategies with particular reference to ECE Center. Moreover, it had also explained the approaches of how the assessment can be used to tune into the child's needs and interest. This module on assessment information, planning the next step in learning, hopes to take you a step further in explaining how to transform the observation or assessment information into relevant, exciting, and developmentally appropriate next steps for children. This module comes to you in the form of 2 videos. However, at the end of the first video, you will be able to analyze the categories of next steps in learning with particular reference to children in their early years, comprehend the cyclic process of identifying the next steps in learning and development. Now, let us focus into the categories of next steps in learning. Very often, the ECE curriculum plan for children does have only weak links with the real potential of the child and the observation or assessment results that have been gathered by the facilitator. The relationship between the overall child development principles and the results is significant for the facilitator to support the process of further learning in the child. Hence, understanding the cyclical nature of observations, assessment, and planning becomes substantial. But how to understand the cyclic nature? Remember to choose relevant next steps from the gathered information through assessment and observations by careful consideration of 4 categories of next step. The 4 categories are: the first one is knowledge of child development. The second is to identify the interest and extend the same. The third is embed a learning point during learning. The fourth category is awareness over the personality of the child. Now, what is knowledge of child development? Knowledge of child development is a prime and the most straightforward category of next step in learning. The facilitator, through the information gathered by assessment and observation, can determine the current developmental stage of the child. By using the knowledge of child development, the facilitator should map the current developmental level of the child to the milestones for his or her age, identify if there is any lacunae. That lacunae can be either a positive or a negative one, and determine the next level of development and set up a milestone based on the individual potential of the child. However, the facilitator needs to be cognizant that the next step may be too large for some children and too small for others. Adjust the milestone specific for each child. And after that, it is to identify the interest of the child and extend the same. By careful observation and appropriately assessing the child, the facilitator should have identified the area of interest. The next step after identifying the area of the interest is extending the same. The process of extension can be made by applying the strategy of scaffolding. Activities that kindles the child's attention may be used to encourage the child to access different areas of the curriculum. For example, a child interested in fire engine can be extended to play with the outdoors by introducing hoses to splash water. The third is embed a learning point. There might be a time when the facilitator observes an emerging knowledge in the child. Don't ever stop with it. Try to embed the same learning in the child by redoing the activity again and again. Assure that the knowledge is embedded and make a move to the next step by modifying the activity to even higher levels. For example, the task of conservation can be embedded in the child by using coins again and again. For the next level, any other object, even it might be a car or even teddies, instead of coins can be used to extend the learning. Further extension is possible by introducing the conservation of mass. The fourth category is the facilitator being aware of the whole personality of the child. A secure and confident child with certain positive dispositions learn more quickly and pass on to the next step with ease when compared to their counterparts. Hence, and as already explained to you in the previous modules, the facilitator should take special efforts to develop the child's personal, social, and emotional skills. A skilled facilitator or an educator knows when a child is ready to move on to the next step. She should also realize that the child's learning is not a linear set of achievements and that they learn across all areas simultaneously but at different rates. Moreover, the facilitator should not attempt to rush the child to the next level. Instead, she should be able to watch the links between different areas of learning and identify strategies to support each other. And now, after knowing the 4 categories of learning, let us understand the cycle of observation, assessment, and planning the next step. By pulling together the information that had been gathered by employing observation and assessment, a facilitator should be able to identify the area of learning and development to be initiated further in a child. The diagram that is going to be shown to you shows how observation, assessment, and planning also occurs as a cyclic process and thereby contribute to the promotion of learning potential of the child. The first step is observation. Here, look, listen, note, and reflect are the key tasks of the facilitator. It is to describe a child. The second step is assessment. Here, the facilitator or the educator should identify, devise, and analyze what the child can do and what the child cannot do. It is to decide the learning potential of the child. Then the third step is planning next steps. Here, the facilitator should decide the experiences, opportunities, or learning environment or resources that has to be given to motivate the child to go further for further learning. It is what we call it as plan next steps to further learning. So with this input, let me sign off and meet you in the next video that explains the third step, namely planning next steps. Thank you.